Welcome back to Full Speed Racing. We are here at the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit with the Super Pro VAG Trophy and the Toucher Mojo Mark II Golf GTI Championship. They're all out on track at once, but they started at a 30-second interval, so we've got two races on the go at the same time, and we have had plenty of drama so far. It's Martin Depper who leads the Super Pro VAG Trophy runners from Stuart Lynes. That's Lynes in the white car, and then it's Dave Cavell who is currently to the front of the Battle Royale we've got going on. Final place on the rostrum, and it looks like they're about to be joined by the 99 car of Tony Absalom as Joe McMillan takes his turn to challenge Josh Gagle into the source. Still Paul Taylor and Paul Winnie disputing the same piece of tarmac as they head around the hairpin and plunge steeply downhill en route towards Eau Rouge, and it's Dave Cavell who's going to have a reasonably unencumbered run for Eau Rouge this time round. As a replay of dramas further back, it's David Fairbrother who's gone off in the Scirocco. He's moving back in the car, okay, so he's going to walk away from that one. Looks like it was a fairly heavy hit for David. As through Eau Rouge, rather, heads that fight for third position. There's Martin Cullion, there's David Fairbrother out of the car. Fairly second hand. David, very fortunately not, as still the Pauls, Taylor and Winnie, do battle. It's the red Golf. Taylor to the inside of the bright yellow Seat to Paul Winnie, and Paul Winnie on this occasion able to dart through ahead of Paul Taylor as they pick their way through their com. Meanwhile, in terms of the Mark II Golf GTI Championship, is Harry Vocard who leads the way from Mike Robinson. This is the fight for third. Lewis Hopkins on Jamie Martin, and Lewis Hopkins about to go through to the inside of Martin into the bus stop chicane, and Lewis Hopkins takes the place. The white car demoting the orange car of Jamie Martin. Very nice move that from Hopkins, but he does slither out a little bit wide over the AstroTurf as they all sprint across the start and finish line onto the source and on to another lap of this fantastic track. It's a real favourite of all the drivers, and I'm sure the entire paddock absolutely overjoyed to be racing here this weekend. Down the hill they all head. Eau Rouge is their next challenge. Harry Vocard, he's still got Mike Robinson in his tail. This battle for the lead of the Toucher Mojo Martin Golf GTI Championship race is far from resolved yet, because Robinson is just turning under pressure. And then we've got Hopkins really moving clear of Jamie Martin, and may well be able to join that leading duo before too long. There's a problem for Barry Cully as he pulls off to the side of the road, vacates his Vento, and unfortunately his race then at a premature close as the front runners in the golf race all close up on each other on the brakes into they come, and this is looking very good from Mike Robinson. He really is just applying the perfect level of pressure to Harry Vocard, making Vocard work very hard for it. Battles to be found, of course, throughout the field, and at the moment it is leading the Class 1 runners. Andrew Aldridge, there's Aldridge running a little bit wide at Eau Rouge. Harry Cully walks clear back to the AG Trophy, and we've got to change lead. Martin Depper has dropped back behind Stuart Lynes, and do we have a problem there for Depper, because he's suddenly fallen a long way back on this lap as Taylor and Winnie still side by side. That's no longer news as into the pits goes Martin Depper. So Martin Depper, who has led this race for so long, departs the action, and it gives now Stuart Lynes a very hefty advantage over Dave Cavell in second position, with still Paul Winnie, Paul Taylor, and now Joe McMillan disputing third. Josh Cagill, part of that group, he has just slipped back of it now, and maybe waiting to see what transpires ahead of him as they head off towards Eau Rouge once more. And it's McMillan in the red Seat who looks to be lining up the move on Paul Taylor and draws alongside Paul Taylor as they head down the hill. So that's fourth position then for Joe McMillan into Eau Rouge to the left, and then the right over the crest of the hill. Cars all just poised on the suspension before they exit Radion and along the Kemmel Straight. Wave yellow flags, of course, for Barry Cully's car. That means Dave Cavell gets a momentary respite from the attack now of Paul Winnie, who has got Joe McMillan in the not dissimilar Seat just in behind him, and Paul Taylor still sticking with this leading group as Winnie now takes his turn to try and challenge Dave Cavell in the Scirocco with limited success. He looked to the outside at Les Combes, couldn't quite squeeze through there as the Golf leaders about to complete another lap, and Harry Vocard still under pressure from Mike Robinson. They've got Lewis Hopkins, the former Caterham racer, closing in on them. All the while, out of the bus stop chicane they come. And then the sprint along towards that source, then also catching Robin Riley as well in his Scirocco, so they may have a little bit of traffic to deal with between now and the end of the race. To the hairpin, Robinson not quite close enough to challenge Harry Vocard, but because these cars are so tightly controlled by the regulations, they really are, as near as possible, identical. It means the slightest mistake can really cost you everything, decided by just tenths, if not hundredths of a second. That's why Robinson is having to drive so hard to stay with Vocard, and why Vocard's having to be so precise. This the battle though for second in the VAG Trophy race, and it's Josh Cagle at the back of the train who is now taking his turn to challenge Paul Taylor as they pick their way through Stavelot and then on towards Blanchimont as Alex Harris comes under pressure from the number 70 car of James Howson, while staying with them is leader of Class 1 Andrew Aldridge, leader of the race overall, and Class 2 Harry Vocard weaving along the Kemmel Straight, trying to keep Mike Robinson behind him. Lovely shot there into the cockpit of Robinson's Golf, ultra precise on the wheel, just the single turn to the right, single turn to the left, job done. As now they're getting in amongst the traffic, and it's Stuart Lyons who sidles his way through. This is Adrian Ward and Simon Thompson, Ward 88, Thompson 18. They are fighting over the final two places in the rostrum for Class 1 in the Mark II golf race. So they're busy having their own race with each other, and the spot on the podium is the prize here, but they now have got this really epic fight that's been ongoing for second in the VAG Trophy race, about to encounter them. To the outside of the road though go Ward and Tomlinson, but they're going to have to turn into the source at some point. Let's hope it's not into the face of Paul Winnie. Oh, it is, and Adrian Ward gets turned around, contact with Paul Winnie. Dave Covell dives back through. Fortunately, none of the cars would appear to have picked up too much by way of damage there. The only harm really seems to be that Paul Winnie's lost a couple of places, as a drama for Joe McMillan, who has a collapse of the front right suspension at Eau Rouge, and you really don't want that to happen to you. Meanwhile, Nick Sanson and Ken Lark do battle a little bit lower down inside the top 10. Stuart Lyons continues his lappery now of Andrew Aldridge, second place in the VAG Trophy. Dave Covell and Paul Winnie trying to find his way past Josh Cagle in the fight for third, and really, given the dramas for Winnie and the way he's performed, third would be a very fine reward. It's been a hard-fought race as the battle at the head of the golf race begins to close up on itself. Harry Vocard's not breaking through Mike Robinson. They are being steadily caught here, I would suggest, by Lewis Hopkins. This is the fight for Class B in the VAG Trophy. It's Steve Rowland in pursuit of Mike Smith. Smith then the blue car with the silver door. Rowland the all-silver, slightly older Golf, as the pair of them head along the start and finish straight and into La Source. And this is the beauty of both the championships racing here, the VAG Trophy and the Mark II Golf GTI Championship, is that whatever car you've got, you'll always find company, somebody to race with, as Rowland has a big moment at the source, gathers it up nicely, but that very, very nearly caught him out, and caused him all sorts of dramas. As we're on the last lap, Stuart Lyons pulling clear of Dave Covell. Carvel, likewise, has now been able to put that gap over Paul Winnie and Josh Cagle. They've only got a few corners to go now. They're working their way into Stavelot, having just exited Les Fagnes, so they've only really got Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane to go, together with a very long run along the far section of the circuit to Blanchimont. Meanwhile, Mike Smith still just the four of Steve Rowland, but Rowland giving Smith maybe a little bit of assistance on the brakes into Les Combes, and that's getting him maybe a little bit too intimate. Mike Smith, well, he's doing very well to stick to his guns here, as Stuart Lyons is about to arrive into the bus stop chicane for the final time. It's been an emphatic performance from Lyons. Dave Covell, likewise, very, very well driven in second, and Winnie looks to have enough in his pocket to withstand the challenger Josh Cagle as they head through the bus stop chicane for the final time. The checker flag goes out, and it's the win in the Super Pro VAG Trophy for Stuart Lyons. Second place for Dave Carvel, and third place goes the way of Paul Winnie from Josh Cagle. Super scrap that. Very, very entertaining race. What about the Golfs? Well, it would appear as if Harry Vocard is still going to have enough of an advantage over Mike Robinson, who's busy fending for Lewis Hopkins. They all break as late as they dare at the bus stop chicane, and Hopkins tries all he can to move past Robinson. Robinson tries to do the same to Vocard. The net effect is no change in position. It's Harry Vocard who takes the win in the Touch of Mojo Mark II Golf GTI Championship from Mike Robinson and Lewis Hopkins. Let's have a look then at the final results, with the victory for Stuart Lyons from Dave Covell and Paul Winnie, from then Josh Cagill and Paul Taylor. Class B honours did go to Steve Rowland from Mike Smith, so Rowland getting the advantage very late in the race. Amongst the golfs, the victory went to Harry Vocard from Mike Rumson, Lewis Hopkins. Andrew Aldridge claimed Class 1 honours for the 8-valve cars from Adrian Ward and Simon Tomlinson, so Ward, despite that spin, able to find his way past Tomlinson. Now, a treat for the drivers as they appear on the rostrum at Spa to receive the applause and enjoy the spoils of victory after 2 excellent races.
Congratulations, what a brilliant result.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thought I was going to have a bit of a battle with my teammate, but looks like he had a problem. But I was looking forward to the last 2 laps with him, but when he disappeared, I was kind of like riding around on my own, and I could see in my mirrors that there was a big battle going on, but I just kept it steady and managed to stay on the track.
Well, after fantastic qualifying, Harry Vocard, winner at Spa.
Yeah, it's a nice place to win, and it's a little bit overdue, to be honest. So yeah, definitely glad for the team, and Ian Carvell and all the boys have worked really hard on the car and done a really good job to get us up here. And it's my fault we haven't really been here before, but you know, hopefully long may it continue.
Well, that's it for the Super Pro VAG Trophy and the Touch of Mojo Mark II Golf GTI Championships here at Spa. And what a weekend it's been for both drivers and spectators. There's just 2 weekends left and everything is to play for. Make sure you're watching next time for some more full speed racing.